not give it away.
You know, I've been playing this game since the beta. Never thought about it.
Well, I mean, now you know.
Now I know. Thank you, Parker.
You're welcome. I'm just trying to help.
It's good information.
Maybe impart some wisdom on everybody's day here.
Yeah.
People will be like, oh.
You done some on my day.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah. High five.
Hold on a second.
Okay. He's writing. There we go. We got it.
Okay, cool.
All right. So, bans coming out. Maverick makes a ton of sense. Probably one of the most common bans on Clubhouse. I'd say it's high up there. He's not always the hard breacher that gets taken out. Sometimes it's Hibana. But Maverick is certainly, I would say, the most influential overall, if we're talking about not just the basement, but all the other sites. Capitao also being banned. That's a targeted ban there, quite clearly from Excelerate. They don't want to deal with Reciprocity's Capitao. It can be used well to pick apart the basement as well as other sites, and I think that's something that Reciprocity have done in the past, if I recall correctly. Mira also eliminated by Excelerate, and the final ban will be, quite interestingly, Clash.
That means Maestro and Echo will be available on the board here. Oh.
What? Oh.
We might need...
All right, then.
We'll wait. We'll wait and we'll see.
Just go ahead and wait for a double call on that. Oh. Seems like multiple issues are arising right now. So, could be a rehost is due, but we're going to wait on admin call for that, of course, as per usual. It's not our decision to make.
We don't actually, you know, we're not admins.
No, yeah, I don't, yeah. If you didn't know this, we are casters.
That's correct. We have not been deputized. I didn't receive my, my admin diploma in the mail just yet. So the admin's decision will be that we're actually going to go to a rehost, and we will come back to us.
All right. Hello again.
Well, not us just yet. No, hello.
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 It's good to see you guys again
today.
Hope your day is going well.
Remember to breathe in and then also breathe out.
Night is going well. At evening, just general time going well.
Yes.
So, looked like a basement defense.
It was starting on the church defense, which is pretty standard for Clubhouse. Let's talk a little bit about these bans here, though. Reciprocity banning Maverick and Clash. Okay. Banning a hard breacher on Clubhouse makes an awful lot of sense. Maverick is pretty sensible. We've been critical of teams that have actually opted not to ban Maverick in the past. He puts quite a bit of emphasis on that CCTV wall to start with. He also is very effective on that jacuzzi wall over in Gym Master. And he can also do hatch duty and even create a very small hole in dirt, which allows you to not have to run a thermite as well. So you bring that Maverick, he's a very powerful tool. Reciprocity says no thank you. But more telling, you mentioned that targeted ban of the Capitao coming out from Excelerate.
Yeah, so Reciprocity and many teams have used Capitao very well on certain sites. For example, Basement, where you can just cut off the rotation, you can take control of blue, you can do a whole lot with Capitao individually. And because Jaeger is such an useful tool on the Basement, if your defense ban is not available for Jaeger, or maybe you want to use Jaeger when you go onto the other half, well, you can go ahead and get rid or have the Capitao in play. So not having Capitao, him being banned out, that might hurt the attack there for Reciprocity. And yeah, it's really quite interesting to see from EXG. Says they did their homework, and you got to give them props for that.
I mean, we've seen Reciprocity run a Capitao on Consulate quite a fair bit. You know, if there's no hard breacher that's required, especially on Coastline, you might have Mark on that role in particular. If you need a set of smokes, as I'd mentioned before, you can bring the Jackal. When we talked about the operator ban rates earlier on, the fact that Jackal was banned so high. Why is that? A lot of the times, targeted bans against Reciprocity, against the way that Foxay will play the Jackal, and smokes do end up being a very significant part of Reciprocity strats. This is good homework from EXG. As you noted, the Clash is also a very smart ban here because you know how much most of those people in Reciprocity hate playing against shields, whether on attack or not, and Clash happens to be quite powerful on the Clubhouse map. Look no further than the way that 9XT played her for Pain Gaming on Clubhouse last season, if you remember, was the real shining star that we saw, and the real first opportunity to prove the strength of Clash was a lot of times he would keep her in blue when they were defending downstairs. And if the rest of the team can bleed out the utility, you have very minimal ways to take care of the Clash in the latter half of the round. Something that we know, that cheekiness that Excelerate can play with, especially having a Clash on their roster. Reciprocity doesn't want to have to deal with that. You just take her banner. Easy.
Was 9XT the one who got that clutch in the main hallway in the basement? Against, it was a Buck, I think. It was a 1 versus 1, and he did the quick swap when he did the little turtle thing, when that used to be a thing. Yeah, that was really awesome. That was a long time ago, though. So we're going to get back into the game, it looks like. Hopefully everything is working this time, and we'll get some action for you. But nothing's happened yet. It's just selection and so on, and making sure everything's working, and it is. We get right into it. We'll see.
Just have to make sure.
Just have to be super certain.
Just have to be sure that everything is A-okay.
Looks like it is.
Looks like it is.
Yay.
Hooray. So everybody should still be on the same operator lineups.
I mean, that would make a lot of sense. So you have the reveal phase, everyone knows who they're playing against, and if you were to change, that would seriously disrupt things. It looks like we're going to do a rehost if the call is in. That again comes down to the admins though, so let's go ahead and wait on that call until we have it.
Okay.
All right. So, still waiting on admin call, but yeah, it looks like there's some kind of problem right now. And we've got the admin call, so we'll be going for another rehost, it looks like, and all right, we'll just wait. You know how we only have 3 matches today?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Doesn't look like that's going to make the day shorter.
Well, we did go all 12 rounds with Rogue and DC, to be fair.
It's true. Oh.
We
wait.
Might. Okay, apparently it's fixed.
We got the game for you. Don't know what happened, but looks like we get to play. All right, so basement defense here for Reciprocity, and we have a nice assortment of attacking operators coming from EXG. They've brought 2 hard destructors, and we will very likely see both those hard destructors throughout the entire match, as it is Clubhouse, Thermite and Hibana, the one's not banned. There is a Cade being brought, or Kaid, excuse me, and he will be using those Electro Claws on the drop-downs, which makes a lot of sense, considering it is a basement defense right now for Reciprocity. Be opening up some castle barricades here. Interesting to see castle on basement. We do see it from time to time, but it's also neat when it happens.
The times that we tend to see, oh, and there goes the Kaid as well, getting added to that alongside the impact trick. So Schlangi is now going to require an EMP from Bio to take that out. Or maybe just have Achieved to be able to slap open enough of that floor with the Skeleton Key.
I think it's really clever the way that they put the impact trick before Kaid, because it's going to bait out the first Hibana X-Karos, which you can delete with the impact, and the second one might even be caught by the Kaid, because Hibanas tend to immediately put down their second one and just try to brute force drops. Not so here, but that's clever the way they did that.
It's actually a bit too quick from Foxay, because you maybe half a second behind and you're able to grab all those X-Karos that could have gone down and really deprive Schlangi from being able to do anything, those X-Karos in particular. It's going to be an impact from Foxay getting tossed out as all of the protection above him is being scattered by the wayside onto over top. And there goes Mark, very first kill is Crusher. The Fragmite watching and waiting patiently, eliminating the Pulse. That's a lot of information that will be taken off the board.
That castle barricade is actually working against the defense right now. Excellent game knowledge here from Crusher and positional awareness to use the castle barricade to his advantage, allowing for that position. Thomas is going to take out Retro, so now Control Blue is in for EXG, and Schlangi's going to eliminate Skies. This is a pretty one-sided round so far. Thomas eliminates Foxay as well, and it's just Laxing now in a 1 versus 5. He'll have to retake from Dirt Tunnel, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Pistol out for Thomas, and he's just going for the spray pre-fire. Will he land the shot? He's going to land a few, but not enough to get the kill just yet. Laxing on very little HP, and it could very easily be a perfect round here for the attack of EXG if Laxing doesn't play this right. And yeah, there it is. No impactless frags for Laxing, and a perfect round to start us off. Impressively done for EXG.
Great hold by Excelerate onto that post plant.
Mm-hmm. Excellent job there, opening up the church wall too. I was impressed at how quickly they established control, opened that wall, and were into the site. I also think that, again, the defensive setup from Reciprocity was working against them. You don't see a castle barricade in Pro League work against the defense very often, but that is a good example of that very thing happening. Could be some pressure put onto Moto by the defense, allowing for a little bit of mitigation on the assault, but nope. Castle Barricade in the way. So, moving on. It's going to be a basement defense again for Reciprocity, and they're just going to stick to their guns. They're going to change their strategy a little bit here if they want to have success, though, as well, the way that EXG picked apart the defense was pretty one-sided.
It's worth noting in that round in particular, we saw the prowess of Tomas. How huge of an impact he's had since coming to Pro League. Keep in mind that he used to be the coach for Excelerate.
Huh.
He used to be the coach for Excelerate.
They
had Nix on the team. They said goodbye to Nix, and then they picked up Tomas. And
oh, yeah.
I feel like we need to remind people of this because Tomas has really stood out in terms of his contributions in a variety of different games. Now, he isn't consistent, so to speak, and he certainly is being overshadowed by Achieved because of what Achieved has accomplished on this roster, being actually one of the most impactful players in North American Pro League. But, man, you have to really focus on Tomas's contribution, and he really did it in that round in particular. Nice 3K, and then he holds the post plant perfectly against Laxing.
Yeah, he's really good on those entries as well. Fills that role very, very well. Now, Achieved, going to be to set himself up looking towards Moto. Again, a slower round here, I'd say, for EXG, but they've established control of the top floor. Information is in their favor. They know what they're dealing with pretty quickly. It only took them about a minute.
Key thing here for Reciprocity is going to be if Mark is able to stay alive. That pulse sensor could have been incredibly handy over the course of that final minute on telling EXG's whereabouts. But drone activated. Speak of EXG. And there's Foxay, who was so imperative in being able to stop that hatch in the kitchen from being opened up as Kaid. He'll say goodbye. It was a good play from Achieved, who almost loses his own life and walk away with a bunch of scars, but ultimately still gets the kill that's needed. And one member of Reciprocity will fall early yet again.
Yeah, it's not exactly the best operator to lose early on, too. If he had any of the Electro Claws left, then that's unfortunate to get picked off. But it's not the end of the world here for Reciprocity. They still have a decent hold on the sites. Looks like EXG is changing up their strategy, maybe, as they seem to be setting up for an armory take this time around. Gas canisters are going to counter that quite substantially. Skies is able to continue to juggle on that drop down. Their entry could be denied easily from Reciprocity. Tomas is starting to work his way towards blue. Last time he managed this control, will he be able to get it a second time around? Ooh, bad timing there on the angles. Tomas eats a lot of damage, but wins the fight regardless. Retro, what happened? Excellent job to Tomas getting that entry. Laxing's gonna refrag though, so blue not in control of EXG. Now it's just 2 here for Reciprocity. Laxing tries to rotate out of dirt. He gets shut down by Achieved, and in the site, Mark gets shut down. Looks like we have a disconnect from Retro, so it's very likely going to be a rehost, but that round still goes the way of EXG, and that's 2 in a row. Those have been some ridiculously dominant rounds for EXG.
Yeah, there hasn't really been that much on the side of Reciprocity that I have really liked. Picking the fight needlessly, as you saw the entirety of your ceiling collapse to the buck above you, wasn't really well advised. And then as EXG went from a church take over towards an armory take, you had Mark staying alive a little too long and being on his sensor trying to give information while the rest of his team died around him, and he had no opportunity to get out of sight. Now, through 2 rounds, there's been 1 kill on Reciprocity's side. That was Laxing, who got one in vain before emerging from dirt and getting picked off in the previous round. That's been it. So pretty close to 2 perfect rounds, back to back. From Excelerate, this is forcing Reciprocity to go to another site, as I think you realize at that point, hey, we probably shouldn't try to go back down to church for the second time. You're see what you can accomplish on another site. CCTV is not a bad one to go to. It works well with the castle, which we're seeing get brought for the 3rd time here from Reciprocity.
Good job to Retro making it back so quickly. It's going to be Cash instead of Jim. So like you said, you have to go somewhere else. Clearly Reciprocity going to favor Cash to Jim. There's some mixed opinions, I think, across regions for that particular selection, but most of the time I think when people go Jim instead of Cash, it's just to try and mix up their opponents. A lot of Legion traps going into storage. Curious. Probably just trying to deny vertical pressure. You can cut off rotation between the cache stairs and cache itself by opening up one hole in storage, if that's your priority. It also might be EXG's priority. They've brought a lot of soft destruction. Of course, the Buck and the Zofia. It's an abundance, to be honest. But not the priority early on. This is curious. An unreinforced wall into server. Not entirely sure what the priority there, what the goal is there for Reciprocity. I'm surprised a little bit. I'm guessing what they're trying to do is make it so you can only open up part of the wall, because a hard destructor is not likely to go to try and open up that wall unless it's Hibana. And at that point, why? Better to go for a construction take, right? But who knows? We'll see. It looks like they do have some Hibana Excaros already used, and probably on the garage walls.
Saw a little bit of innovation the last time Reciprocity defended the site with the way that they played the Miras, if I recall correctly, on the separate walls. But
you are correct.
Of course, with her being banned, we don't have an overlay up right now, so you can't actually see that there's no operator or which operators are banned on the top of your screen.
And it was EXG who banned Mira, so that's another good point of excellent research on the side of EXG.
So obviously, just showing that you strat it out. I mean, you got to imagine that Excelerate expected to play Clubhouse. If they do win in the interview, we can ask and possibly get some definitive information from them. But here's your pressure inside a garage, and it will be achieved. Gun down, Crusher downed as well. So Reciprocity has a good answer for this aggressiveness from Excelerate. That's two bodies that will not be available for Excelerate.
It was Achieved's nade that downed Crusher because Mark killed the Achieved while he's throwing the nade, and he's gonna get even more kills as he goes for the vault, going for the 4K, but it won't happen. Schlong, he shuts him down. But still, an excellent hold of the garage. And that's going to put Reciprocity in a great spot. They'll win the round in the last few battles there. Retro and Laxing sweep it up. And there you go, first round for Reciprocity.
And Reciprocity really needed that one,
yeah.
Not just for momentum, but also for confidence, to be able to keep it in step with their opponents, because you lost quite swiftly to Excelerate. And both of those rounds, as you mentioned, were so definitive that you got to be able to put something on the board and show that you can put up a fight, because the potential for you to lose momentum and lose confidence, it's absolutely there. So, Gym and Bedroom will be the fourth site, or rather the site for the fourth round, because you lose Church twice. You're not particularly eager to go back down to it. You hope that your prayers are answered somewhere else. They were answered in Cache CCTV, and you'll see if you can answer it over on the Gym Bedroom side, as Reciprocity looks to have to wake up from the aggressiveness that Excelerate was bringing their way.
Got a Nomad being brought out here. Curious lack Nomad play so far through the day, but she will make an appearance. It's going to be a powerful tool for the attack to use. Cut off those surprise plays the defense often use to get an advantage. You know, it's been discussed before. We bring it up again. It's hard to really tell when Nomad is impacting a round from a spectating point of view, because it happens so quickly, and it's usually in remote locations, that if Nomad is actually hitting someone with an air jab, you usually, again, sometimes it can be hard to notice. That's an important thing to point out with her as well. She will influence rounds, you won't always see it. Mute being brought, but no Bandit nor Kaid, so it's going to be Mute's responsibility to hold on to the Jacuzzi wall as long as possible. There is no Thatcher in play, which means opening up that wall is going to be a little bit more difficult, especially considering Maverick is also not here. It's because he's been banned out. Schlongi trying to cut off rotation between Cache and Workshop. And look at that. Here come the air jabs. So
my device is planted.
We're going to see the effect of the air jabs already. They will, if nothing else, warn the attackers if anyone's rushing from Cache. And that means that EXG can drone out significantly less, and they don't need to leave anyone on their flank here. So that's some really great efficiency coming out from this operator.
And once again, but just simply by having a Nomad on the board, you realize that you can't rotate freely as defenders. You don't really have that intel to know if there's an air jab on the other side of a doorway, on the other side of a wall, etc. Keep in mind, they don't make any noise. They don't give off any visual indicator like a Claymore does. There might just be silent death on the other side of the door, in which you get knocked over and there's somebody there to take advantage of it. And if you don't die immediately, then they at least know where you're coming from, as there's an audio indicator of where that air jab was triggered from. It's a run out from Laxing that sometimes that gamble can pay off. The double run out, though, is not expected, as there's a second. Foxay pops out the window and guns down Tomas. So a late trade of sorts as achieved. He has one frag grenade left, but he knows that there's an ADS down there. Retro peaks, and there you go. EXG regains the lead.
Still control of cash here for EXG, but they haven't been able to eliminate the player in Workshop. That's Mark, and he's doing his best to just hold on for dear life. If he can deny this entry to EXG, then he should be able to give his team a crossfire on the actual site. But he's been marked, and it looks like he's going to fall back. Probably the right call. Biologic making his way up the main stairs will get 1 and a second there. As he goes for the third, he runs out of ammo. Foxay shuts him down. 1 versus 3, but winnable, certainly. Not challenging the right angles, but oh, opportunity missed out on. And because of that, Crusher gets shut down. The shotgun is the perfect weapon for Foxay to win this round with, if he plays his cards right. He only needs to hold on for 30 more seconds. Nade's coming out here, but there could be an ADS, but no, it's not going to be there. Bad cook, though, and Foxay will survive. Only a little bit of damage taken off of his person. Missed shots here from Achieve, but he finally lands enough to get Foxay, and no clutch for the excellent smoke player on Reciprocity. EXG wins another round.
It's got to be tough knowing that there's air jabs in play. You know that there's still drone work on you. And that was something that really needs to be stated from Excelerate, was their drone work. There was a drone that was kept inside of logistics that was able to spot out Retro's position inside of that little cubby just next to office. There was also a drone that was used inside of construction that was marking the Maestro that was being played in there as well. So with Excelerate, not only are they winning their gunfights, but they're also winning this information war against Reciprocity. By finding Reciprocity every step of the way on their drones, being able to mark them and being able to understand where they need to push from, and then it just falls down to the individual effort from EXG to be able to get the kills onto Reciprocity. Foxay came tantalizingly close to being able to lock that round in. Keep in mind, he also had Diffuser down inside a gym, so he could have just simply camped on that Diffuser, possibly forced them all to fight him, but there was still the grenade on the board from Achieve. There was still a drone in play as well, which is a little bit odd to have a drone still available in the final 20 seconds of a round, but it was still helpful nonetheless for the Nomad to be able to go on that to help Achieve to be able to find that final kill. Foxay just moving a little bit too much. But ultimately, that game, that match, or that round rather of this match, was won and lost in the transition over towards construction. That Maestro's inability to lock it down and the pressure into office, those two coming together, is really all of the story that we saw for Reciprocity. You are now going down to Church. Somehow Retro has eaten about 50 HP.
Uh-oh. Already. Must have been an impact or an accidental shot to the leg or something, but yeah, it's not a good start for Retro. Maybe he was running back down main stairs when Biologic was opening up this wall. That would make sense. He could eat a shot or two from the R4C. Anything's possible. Anyway, damage done, and EXG have control of the top 2 floors already, whether they know it or not. These barricades are likely to distract EXG for a few seconds, if nothing else.
I think that it's also just a mental game. You see that the barricades are there. You might have to, I don't know, you might have to drone it out, because there are teams that definitely will roam when you know that you're defending Church downstairs. Yeah. It's not exactly common for teams, but as we've seen from a variety of different matches, you could possibly lose the round quite early on if you just simply don't do your homework to figure out if there's somebody that's roaming upstairs. In this case, right now, it looks like every single body of Reciprocity is going to be firmly in and around the site, so you don't have to worry from our perspective about there being a roamer, but if you're EXG, yeah, you kind of still need to.
Great use of soft destruction here. You can see, again, an abundance of soft destruction being brought by EXG, to the point at which they have actually sacrificed the Habana. They have a clear focus in this round and know exactly what they want to do. They don't need the extra hard destruction. EXG now still focusing on blue. Have yet to get control, and it's going to be a rush in through Moto. No one's challenging Biologics, but he misses all of his shots. Oh no! The pre-fires will go everywhere but on the target. And Reciprocity will get 2 on this entry. Now 3 as Mark lands another shot onto Achieve. Blue entry denied from Laxing, and it's a perfect round for Reciprocity.
I see what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
But it didn't work.
No, it did not.
He sprung on in. You heard the sound of the starting gun. He was off that starting line, but it was the human equivalent of hitting the very first hurdle and just falling back down.
And then everyone else falls behind you.
And then it's chaos.
Yeah.
Yep.
People trying to dodge. They can't go out of the lines.
People's limbs tangled up.
Yep.
Pieces of wooden hurdle and metal
everywhere. Somebody got impaled somehow.
Watch.
Somebody got impaled in their thigh.
Don't bring violence into this.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to sell it as whimsical, not morbid.
You're right. I took that the wrong way. But yeah, no, it was great to watch.
You got off the starting line real fast.
It was really
you immediately hit your hurdle and you trip.
The interesting thing to me is that Reciprocity wasn't challenging at all the Moto doorway.
Reciprocity just sat there and waited.
Yeah, and they won.
And then every single member of EXG came on in. They lost every single one of EXG's gunfights. Lost. You went 0 for 5. When you had the advantage on at least 2 of them in particular.
I don't think they were expecting Biologic to fizzle out like that.
Fizzle out is a good way of putting it.
Yeah, he shot off every bullet on his R4C, and nothing happened.
If only he had an ACOG on that thing.
This wouldn't change anything.
Maybe it would have changed something.
I don't know.
Could have seen a little bit farther.
Yeah.
Relying on the hollow.
Well, I'm sure. Well, I think he was using a reflex. Well, whatever. Weird round. And I'm sure it's not going to get any weirder than that for the rest of the day. Anyway, cash defense here, and this is the first round that Reciprocity managed to win. So, well, this site is anyway. Biologic actually has potentially a free kill here. If someone gets on his drone and calls for him, easy pre-fire, and he whips it. Achieved manages to land a shot though, so the kill is in. Laxton goes down. Good job to EXG getting that pinch off. Now they're trying to open up from below. This is what we expected to see from Buck last time Reciprocity went here, and it's happening this time. So better late than never. Fox A in garage, very dangerous position, and he could be caught out of position by Crusher, but he did impact one of those exothermic charges.
I was going to say, this is basically just like some kind of stead right now for Fox A, where he realizes that there's a good opportunity he doesn't make it out of this alive, as now there comes more pressure from Lounge, and unless somebody from Reciprocity is able to watch that well, it's going to be a very difficult and harrowing prospect. So you can see or hear the shots from the AK-47 of the Nomad, and finally, Fox A gets downed, as it is Schlongy with that AK, or the 74, technically. Is it an AK-74?
It's an AK. We just call it the AK. I actually don't know what it is following that.
74.
M.
Yes, it is.
74M.
Yes. Oh no, Mark getting very aggressive onto the Nomad. Schlongy will get finished off as he re-peaks. For reasons unbeknownst to us, is next up on the docket is Crusher down below, and so is Achieved, as Mark is going to get felled. That ADS had been bled out earlier on, and now you see the control that is had of that rafter. Unable for Skies to hit the shots all the way on in. He's got 1 HP, which will leave poor little Retro inside of the site, as he is going to have quite a hurricane arriving at his doorstep. The good news is, it does not appear that either the default cam or the Evil Eye that is still in the garage has been taken care of. There's going to be plenty of information available for the rest of Reciprocity, all 2 of them, to deal with the Excelerate team. But it's the final round of defense for Reciprocity here. Excelerate looking to put this one away.
Got a really good chance of taking it. Retro gets a free kill there on a Biologic. Crusher starting to work his way in. Gas canister's not perfectly placed to deny this plant, and Crusher might be able to get it with ease. Thomas has the rotation on lock. He's missing some shots, but the defuse plant goes down. Skies will get the frag, though, on the planter. Thomas eliminates Skies. It's just Retro. He's already managed to get 1 in the situation, and his teammates supporting him well. He's going for those 2, but he has to find the angles, and thus far, they have been elusive. Achieved waiting for the run out. Must have heard those shots from behind, but does not flinch. Oh, what a shot from Retro. A 1 versus 1 now. He has to know where the buck is. The shotgun skeleton key out, though, and oh, it lands. Achieved wins the round. EXG takes it, and a little bit of celebration is in order here for Achieved, and Excelerate as a whole, since they take this half 4-2.
Worth noting as well that the vaulting has changed too, and we might need our second rehost. Would this be our second? This will be our second here of this match.
Well, it was almost our third.
Almost a third.
Yeah.
Waiting on admin decision.
Yeah,
and there you go, confirmed. We will have another rehost for this matchup, and we will have the teams go back into the lobby and then go from there.
So, all right. That was a really nice try from Retro. You're absolutely right. And I have to say, if we were on the old vaulting system, he would have been able to take that.
I was going to say, you vault slower now.
Yeah, so I think the vault is, the actual speed of the vault is the same, but the camera follows you more accurately, I think is what what they did. Is it instead of you kind of arcing smoothly over the vault like it used to try and make it more comfortable for people who are vaulting, it jerks with the actual position of your hitbox, so you can't get a Peeker's advantage as you go for a vault. That's what I was saying, is like, I think Retro would have won that if he had the old vault. But it's a good thing, what we have now. It's a good change. I like that change. Yeah.
I like the change as well. Okay, so first half in the books.
Yeah.
Reciprocity took 2 of those rounds. Accelerate, looking pretty good, taking 4. It's the same split that we saw from DZ Rogue, map number 1. Attackers take the majority of those rounds. Now, a lot of that falls down to Reciprocity just not putting together the greatest defensive effort. That first round in particular, you know, you had Mark get peaked early on. You have a couple members of Reciprocity get a little too aggressive. It ends up being a perfect round for Accelerate. Second round on defense, you see Fox A peak early on as Kaid, what he really didn't need to. He basically tosses his life away. Lax Auxiliary member of Reciprocity picks up a kill in that single round, and then you go through 2 rounds with 1 frag between you. After that, it was a bit of stumbling from Accelerate that allowed Reciprocity to be able to close that gap and try to draw the numbers a little bit more even. Reciprocity hit their shots as Accelerate almost comically couldn't. But when we flip sides here, the way these teams are playing, that toothlessness that was really on defense from Reciprocity on certain rounds, coupled with the fact that Rec also just sat there, didn't really do all that much on a couple other defensive rounds and let the fight come to them without real counter push. What's your prediction heading into the second half now? Because I'll be honest with you, I did not expect Accelerate to pick up 4 rounds in this matchup.
To be honest, I think Reciprocity is not really working as a team right now. I've seen a lot of individual performances. Like Mark, for example, he was playing as Maestro inside of Garage. It honestly looked like Mark was really on point. He was landing his shots, didn't get a whole bunch of kills or anything like that, but he seemed focused, determined, and he was aware what his job was to hold the Garage rafters. Fine, great, good job to him. But he had already lost a Legion underneath him, and where was the support from him while that engagement was happening? You know, there's a lot to be said about teamwork, and very little has been shown by Reciprocity through that first half. So I think what needs to be changed here is a little bit more coordination, working with each other, and I think that's definitely going to be possible, though harder to achieve now that they're going onto the attacking side.
Yeah. So all of our theory crafting leads us up to this exact moment as we get underway.
So, looks like it's going to be basement, and so the alibi being brought hints at a roam upstairs. That's what we've seen alibi used for in the past. I think it was Cantor Aketi who made basement clubhouse defense with alibi on the top floor a popular thing. I think we could say that, Kanto. But it's been used by many other teams in the past. You could also just bring an alibi, throw your prismas upstairs, and then be like, haha, I'm roaming upstairs when you're not actually. And use her utility down in the site. Either way, whatever you want to do as a team, you've got your options. And yeah, MP5K on Thomas, which is interesting. Usually it's the shotgun. Also neat little change there. He's expecting to play some longer angles, I'm guessing. It looks like he also will be putting some mute jammers upstairs. That is to support the potential roam, or if nothing else, deny that the information to the attack, whether there is a roam or not.
Setting up a diversion.
Though it looks like there will likely be. Yeah, he's going to commit to Garage. One impact used, he almost got he could have gotten picked off there if someone had peeked from the garage door, but not the case. Reciprocity is going to start with their drone work, and Retro's opening this angle so he can cut off the window from garage to server and get the default cams, which he has already accomplished, as well as 1 Valkyrie cam. Thomas takes out Skies, so it's a good start here for EXG. Looks like that was a run out from the main stairs window. And, well, that's one of the hard destructors. And now, if EXG realizes they took out a Habana, then they can all just fall back to site and win the round based on a lack of hard destruction for the attack. Honestly, we'd be really easy in that situation.
Really hard to lose your Hibana first out of every single operator here now, because your Thermite is likely going to prioritize probably that dirt wall, and then you're going to probably go for the church wall. You might have to change some things up now, depending on the way that you're going to apply Retro. He's both exothermic charges, so he's got a lot available. I like this. You mentioned this nod to Canto Ricchetti here with the you know the alibi play above. Something that we see a lot in Europe, but it really didn't make its way to North America or Latin America in particular. Alibi providing not the greatest utility, but overall a good kid outside of it.
He had it's distraction utility. Bad timing, speaking of, for Tomas as he goes for a C4 above him, but gets eliminated by Mark. Good coordination there for Reciprocity. So you got that going for you as the attacking team. 1 pick in exchange for your losing your Habana, but it's still advantage defense, as now only 1 or 2 drops can be opened up here by Reciprocity, depending on how they choose to use their exothermic charges. So the roam was successful to an extent in wasting time, but not much else, if I'm being honest. The run out from Thomas was the real victor there.
Yeah. I mean, you have to give a lot of credit to Reciprocity if they're able to rotate back and accomplish something now that they had such a loss, but they're going to be gifted a victory in the fact that this stock hatch has not been reinforced. Neither has the...
I think it was thermited.
Was it thermited? I was going to say, now, it didn't look like it at the time being, but yeah, it does appear that they were able to get that one down, and now you might be able to use, if you have a second exothermic charge, you're going to have to do it on the church wall. That's exactly what's going to happen. No bandit in play, so no real worry about if there's going to be a mute jammer. Crusher does throw an impact out, though, and it looks to be successful in taking the exothermic charge down, and that is a major thorn in the side of Reciprocity. Keep in mind that Excelerate doesn't have to do too much in order to grab 1 point here. They've only got to collect 2 rounds. Schlongi's going to do his best to keep it in tow as he takes out 1 member of Reciprocity. 2 more will fall to Crusher and Bio when achieved, providing excellent coverage as an Alibi gets back to site safely after a bit of expedition on that second floor, or exploration on second floor, and there's not that much that's going to be able to get put together from Reciprocity. Ultimately, you called it. That round almost completely sunk by losing the Hibana first and foremost, and now Reciprocity knocking on the door of at least 1 point here in this matchup against Rec. Or Excelerate, rather. My apologies.
Yeah.
Excelerate is looking at 1 point.
Yes, they are. They're very, very close. They only need to win the 1 round, and they're going to be going to cash for their next defense. That last round, again, as we talked about, the pick of Hibana being huge. Reciprocity adjusted their strategy accordingly. They went for a Moto to church wall take, but an impact trick stopped them dead in their tracks thanks to the mute jammer delaying the thermite charge long enough for the impact to come out. Following that, there was not a lot Reciprocity could have done to recover that round. It's possible they could have fragged their way in through the Moto door and the hallway, but that would have required serious negligence on the side of EXG, of which there was none in that round. Excellent hold from EXG. They have clearly done their research. I think in that last round, the research was less apparent. They just set themselves up and it worked. But in the first half, the way that EXG was playing, yeah, they know what they're up against when they're playing Reciprocity. And it seems like Reciprocity are not playing very well as a unit right now. Again, I'm seeing a lot of seriously focused faces in terms of, metaphorically, in terms of how Reciprocity are playing. But individually, not as a squad, and that's going to detract from their potential in this match. They need to shore that up.
I mean, there are players on Reciprocity who feel like a deep commitment to the match they're playing, and that kind of emotion can really help you in the clutch, but can also be your undoing if you start to lose things, and you start to lose the plot, pretty early on. Sky's actually sustaining a bit of damage, and it's important that he stays alive this time, as it's a cash defense upstairs, with Excelerate looking to try to grab 1 point in this particular altercation.
Surprised almost didn't get picked off doing that. I would have expected Mark to try and contest the impact trick. It was not successful. It was successful the first time, not the second time, but they knew it was happening. It was on drone. Mark could have punished him for that. Didn't happen. So we've got Garage open, and there's no one from the defense playing it. We've got... Oh, actually, there is. Biologic is rotated in. He's playing Rafters as the dog. This is dangerous, but he could do a lot of damage. If he plays his cards right, he's not going to land the shots, though, and Fox A will. 25 damage done, but that's not really a lot. Achieved, though. Ooh, could be a thorn in the side of the attack. Gets the C4 off, maybe just to kill someone sending those stairs. Skies goes down. Excellent play here. C4 to follow it up, and it will not land, at least not enough of it to get the kill. A little bit of damage done to Fox A, bring him down to about 50 HP.
He's bought a ton of time for his team, though, and you can see now with Schlongi also moving on out, this is going to be a full court press here for Excelerate, as they are just bringing the heat to Reciprocity. And 2 key members of Rec being off of the board, that's problematic. Got frag grenades that are not available. He's still got smokes from Mark, who's now in the middle of the site, gets crushed by Crusher. Laxing will refrag onto Achieved, but still Excelerate looking to hold on. Retro with a great shot into Tomas. Reciprocity actually putting together quite an impressive resume here. As it's now Crusher. A nice shot of his own on the Retro, and Laxing not able to accomplish much. That's 6 rounds for Excelerate. They get 1 point at minimum. It was funny, 80-some-odd% of you folks, 83%, I believe?
Yeah, 83%.
Said, hey, we think Reciprocity is going to win.
83% thought Reciprocity would win, 11% for EXG. And we are on match point Excelerate Gaming. This is the research, folks. Excelerate really did theirs. It's paying off. And on top of that, they are landing their shots with confidence today. It's impressive to see. This is a different kind of Excelerate. And again, Reciprocity not showing up the same way they usually do. So it's a bit of both, but you can't take it away from Excelerate, pushing us all the way to 6-2. Even if they lose every round from here on out, which is possible, they still get the draw. And I think they've earned a lot of respect here today. As we were talking about in the pre-match, Reciprocity have just been on the up and up, non-stop, since this season started. And, well, yeah, Excelerate haven't shown us a lot. They're showing us something here today, and it's great to see.
Oh, my.
It sounded like he took damage, but he...
It's from the shotgun blast that's going on behind him. Just taking ever so slight bit of damage there, but of course, Castle...
But it really stung.
Castle is probably one of the greatest overactors in the history of gaming.
I mean, like, imagine a pellet hits you and it doesn't actually do damage, but it would still hurt.
I mean, it would hurt.
I would scream.
The Twitch drone tases him. Same sound.
Yeah, true.
Last time these teams met, it was Excelerate versus Reciprocity in week number 1 on Consulate. Reciprocity crushed them 7-2. We are looking like we might have the exact same thing, but on the other side.
Yeah.
With Excelerate in a 7-2 potential.
What a turnaround, huh?
It's quite the turnaround, and you know, with there being a successful run on the sites, it now puts Excelerate into Gym Master, which is the one site that a lot of teams tend to lose. You know, you expect that they'll win Cash, that they'll win Church. They lose Gym Master. This is the real test here for Excelerate, is if they can hold on. And if you look at the lineup that Reciprocity has, it's good coverage. You got a Zofia and you got a Buck that can deal with all the destruction you need. Of course, you got the Thermite Thatcher just to be able to open up a Jacuzzi wall and maybe open up a wall in construction if you really need to. You got the Jackal there as well. Soft destruction in the shotgun and then the smokes too. You put one of those 2 destructive operators, a Buck or Zofia, on that logistics wall upstairs over the hatch, and there you go. Instead, Excelerate's put a lot of emphasis on the Cash CCTV side of things, which is not where that site is. It's requiring the utility from Reciprocity to be used early on just to wrestle some map control away. This bodes well for when the site push happens on EXG's side.
I really want to know what EXG is going to use to deny the Gym plant, because that's clearly what Reciprocity are setting themselves up to do right now, plant inside of Gym. There also seem to be a lot of tools on the defensive side to accomplish that goal of denial. Some C-Force. Valkyrie could come from below, so that's an option. You've also got the gas canisters, but they're not going to be perfect to use in this situation. Of course, you've got both Echo and Maestro left unbanned, but neither of them being played. So this could be a hole that Reciprocity might be able to take advantage of in the defense of EXG. We'll wait and see. Claymore not going to do anything here. Mark gets the first frag. Run out from Achieve, not going to accomplish anything despite having access to that run out.
Achieve has given his position away though. So if, with the fact that Reciprocity has a numbers advantage as they now go for the diffuser on Retro's side of things, they might be able to watch for where Achieved is coming from. But he'll out-duel Mark. Be quite victorious in the process. Accelerate will now have to deal with the timer too. They're Schlongy eliminating Skies, and in the post plant, EXG buys himself an advantage. Possible jump out from construction, fearing there being a Claymore, but there's nothing by the window as it's all going to be Excelerate. 3 frags in a row. Retro, who got the diffuser down, will need to hold things together as he sees that the ship around him is slowly starting to take on water. Can he plug the hole in time? Schlongy and Bio both in position to start going for the defuse. Bio understanding that there might be a push, but Schlongy's going to stick it, and nobody seems to know. There's no call here. Accelerate under the wire managed to steal the defuse, and Reciprocity are completely oblivious to EXG's stealthfulness. Michael, is that a stealth 100 that we see on Achieved, who manages to put together one hell of an impressive game?
Confirmed and stealth level 100.
7-2 for Excelerate Gaming, and Reciprocity taking a big step backwards, especially knowing that they've just been vaulted over by Dark Zero.